Hey, everybody, welcome back. Another episode here for Banish the Doubt. Once again, I am George McNamara in this human form, and I bow to the light that is inside of you. If you find yourself struggling in any area of your life, be it money, be it relationships, be it health, anything like that, understand it's not you, it's your programming. It's how you were programmed from birth until now. Everything in this world is but electrical or vibrational. Everything vibrates, everything is a frequency. But you and myself and others, many others, have been programmed or conditioned to believe that the answer to any of our problems is out there. It's not. Everything starts in here. We're going to talk about that tonight, but not just talk about that, but talk about ways in which we can start to change or broaden our awareness so that we can start to notice what's already there. See, you are reality. There's no such thing as reality outside of you. You are the field, the universe, and the universe is you. We are one and the same. Your body is comprised of 7 quadrillion atoms and some 50 billion cells. Every time you have a thought, your brain takes that thought and it creates a chemical reaction within your body to complement that thought. So it goes right into your bloodstream. If you were to look at a tree, specifically now we're getting into here in America, we're getting into the autumn season. So the branches on the tree are going to be more visible. The leaves are going to start to fall out of the trees. If you look at the branches of a tree, they are exactly the way the neurons are in our brain. They're what's called a fractal. They're a fractal of each other, just mirroring or smaller versions of the whole. If you would look at the universe in the stars, you would see the same type of setup in the galaxy. If you look at a map from afar of a river, you would see the same type of fractal pattern. The same with your lungs. The same with a fig, the leaf of a fern, the fern shrub, the fern leaf is a fractal. There's just smaller and smaller versions of the whole. So you and I are just like nature, which is just like the universe. So you and I are the universe, and the universe is us. Our bloodstream is fractal. It patterns itself after a fractal. So again, as we have a thought, that thought goes into our brain. The chemicals, the cells within our body then create chemicals based on that type of thinking. So where did this all start? Well, it started when you and I were just a fetus. That's when our brains turned on. And from that point to age 7, you and I were in a hypnotic state. Theta, up here at T, theta stands for the type of brain wave our brains are in. D is delta, it's the slowest brain wave. The T is the next brain wave, slightly faster than delta, but still extremely slow. You're hypnotized because a hypnotist from long ago would take a watch on a string, right? It would go back and forth. You would see him saying, "You're getting sleepy. You're getting tired. Just watch the watch. Pay attention. Keep your eyes on the watch." And the person's eyes go back and forth. And what the hypnotist was doing was slowing down or turning off the conscious mind, the vibration of the conscious mind, and tapping into the theta brainwave state. So he's eliminating the conscious brain. So the patient is in a theta brainwave state. He's under the spell of the hypnotist. And then that, what ends up happening. They just they do whatever the hypnotist tells them to do. Scratch your behind your ear like you're a dog, and they would. So the same with you and I. Only the hypnotists didn't know they were them. They were our parents. They were the surrounding community of which we were growing up in. So those first 7 years, again, our brains turned on, and whatever was going on in mom's environment, in her reality, what she thought it was being, that energy is being transferred. You and I were absorbing that. We were watching, we were observing. And 95% of those first 7 years, that subconscious programming is now in the hind part of our brain. Right here above your eyebrow is the conscious brain, the prefrontal cortex. It separates us from the animals. 95% of our day is set there in the subconscious programming. You see, because those first 7 years, I said your brain was on, but it was your subconscious brain. The conscious brain was not formed yet. It wasn't on. So everything that you learned by observing your parents, observing the family you were brought into, the greater family, you were enculturated to be told that this is A, your name, B, this is your nationality, you come from that country, your ancestors, so you're part of that country. All of that was being downloaded into you. Schooling. Schooling was designed to have children go up, learn ABCs and count it, and be able to learn arithmetic, and then go out and become an employee in the factory. That's what it's designed for. That hasn't changed, but we have changed. We have evolved since then. Excuse me, it's still allergy season. We have evolved since then. But school is just for that, just to go and produce more and more employee-minded children. Raise your hand. I can go, yes, can I go to the bathroom? Yes, you can. You learn to become very obedient. You learn that there's a teacher. So I have to obey the teacher. I have to obey the principal. I have to obey my manager. I have to obey the principal or the vice president and what have you, the different layers of corporate America. So we were conditioned this way and surrounded by people who lived this way. But 60% of that 95%, scientists have now proven those programs are disempowering, self-sabotaging, and limiting beliefs. Think nothing more than just what was the conversations in your home like around money. Was it a comfortable conversation between your parents? Did people talk about abundance and wealth around you, your aunts and uncles? What was the conversation in the neighborhood? What were the conversations like on the TV programming that you watched? There's a reason why the news turns on at 4 o'clock in the morning and is still going at 11 o'clock at night. It used to be, it would be on at, morning news, 2, 4, 5, 7, I think 11, 9, 11. They were the channels. That was it. Now it's on 24 hours a day. It's on these here, our cell phones. And it's designed to keep us in fear. And fear is a tool that the system uses to keep you and I discouraged and keep us distracted. Okay? This is what is designed to do. So again, the programming, the conditioning, this is what we are led to believe is life. When in truth, you do not come here to change the world. You only need to change the way you see yourself in the world. So if you're watching this and you're finding yourself challenged in any way, in any area of your life, we're talking a little bit here about money, but this could be health, this could be relationships. The most important relationship you are ever going to have in your time here on this earth is the one you have with yourself, because everything works off of that. If you don't see yourself as enough, as worthy, as deserving, as confident, as self-assured, not in an egotistical way, but one in an assured way, then you're going to attract that into your life. If you see yourself, though, as somebody who understands that how I think is showing to me every moment of my life, how I think about myself is shown to me, reflected back to me by this universe. So if anything's going on outside, is perceived outside, there is no such thing as outside. There's no such thing as distance. There's no such thing as space and time and any of that. It's all man-made. It's all designed to keep us in victim type of mindset. So if there's anything I perceive out there that needs to change, it's just a reflection of what's going on inside that I need to become more aware of, not change, just become aware of. Okay? This here, what I'm talking about, symbolically, what I've spoken about in previous videos is like putting a sack over your shoulder. It is filled with bricks and cinder blocks. It's why we feel weighed down. This has nothing to do with you. This is all the programming from those who raised you. And again, it's not 100% wrong or bad. Some of the stuff that you learned was good, was beneficial, but a lot of it was disempowering, limiting beliefs, because that's how the majority of societies, the generations that preceded them, that's how they were raised. That's how they lived their life. They didn't know any better. It's not about pointing fingers at anybody or saying they were wrong. It's just all about awareness and expanding and stretching our awareness. Okay? So you no longer need to chase money or health. You become the place that it returns to. So the healthy relationship, help it return to, let's say, that light that is inside of you. The money, have it return to the place where there's abundance in the wealth. It's a mindset. Okay? There's 1.3 million Earths that will fit inside the sun. But again, the sun is not the sun. It's a star inside this galaxy. And there's only one of 300 billion stars. The sun, the star, is 93 million miles away from Earth. And this star, okay, which is one of 300 billion in the galaxy, it's estimated right now about 200 or 2 trillion galaxies are in this thing called the universe. But we're worried about somebody said something that we didn't like. We're worried about not having enough money at the end of the month. We're upset because somebody said something on TV about another politician and, our team versus their team, and they have to be wrong and we have to be. That sack, it weighs us down. It's there by design. The system needs you to stay in this victim mentality, this lack mentality, this I'm upset at something outside of me mentality, when there is no such thing as anything outside of you. Everything revolves around how you think about yourself. Your voice, and only your voice, is the most important in this whole world. Take that with you. My voice is the most important, because as I speak, as I become audible, my thoughts become audible, it goes out to this world, and the world turns around and reflects it right back to me. So you could actually say then that if I'm arguing with somebody, I'm literally actually arguing with myself. There's no such thing as arguments. We're just learning at every moment of our existence here on this earth. I'm just learning. There's a reason why some philosopher said say that every man or every person is my teacher, and that I learned something about myself by interacting with them. So having that as a baseline, having that as a foundation for this video. Okay, many of the clients that I coach ask me, well, then how do I break this? How do I change this? And I go, well, first, remember it is the language we use. How do I become more aware? Okay, how can I then stretch my awareness? What can I do to change the subconscious programming? Well, if you see in this graph up here, B stands for beta brainwave state, which is what you and I are in right now. A is alpha. Alpha is slow conscious. Theta, we just talked about. Theta is when you were a young boy, young girl, and the broomstick you had was a horse. And the young girls, the tea they poured in their little cups for their dolls was actually tea. You were in the imagination state. So you're in the hypnotic state, you are imagining. So that's theta. And then we talked about D, delta, being the lowest or slowest, one of the slowest brainwave states. It's why from birth to age 2, we slept so much because we were still in that slow delta brainwave state. And third trimester is when the brain turned on, the subconscious brain. So whatever was going on in mom's world back then, that energy was being transferred. Because remember, this universe and you and I are nothing more than frequency, energy. This table that the computer rests on is actually, at its core, if you will, energy. Inside of an atom, scientists have discovered that there's little, what they call nano tornadoes of energy, nano tornadoes floating. That's it. It's just energy inside of a tornado. It's light. That's why I say I bow to the light that's inside of you. So then how do we change? Well, we go then from beta, I'm awake, I'm aware of what I'm talking about. I become aware of how I'm speaking, but more importantly, most importantly, to myself, because from there it goes out here. Okay, so I do that. Alpha is when I'm kind of slowly, my brain, my conscious is starting to slow down. I'm not as aware, I'm not as alert. And I'm noticing it because I'm becoming what they call you're vegging out, sitting in a chair or on the couch. That's alpha. Theta brainwave state is when I'm starting to kind of drift into sleep. And that is the time when we want to become hypnotic again. Our brains actually are at that point hypnotic. So at that point, what you want to do is you want to use the I am affirmations. Whatever it is you desire, for more money, for better relationships, for better health, whatever it may be. You close your eyes and you're drifting to sleep. You can even make a recording, listen to a recording, just repeating that over and over and over again, because the way in which we created these programs were created was by repetition. Our conscious brains were not developed. So, okay, at night, our conscious brain's going to sleep, if you will. It's turning off. So it's just our subconscious. So we're just reversing the process. Everything that was downloaded into our subconscious brain as an infant, up through those first 7 years, we're now going to change it. We're going to, through repetition, start to put in these thought patterns into our subconscious. We're going to do this, okay? The subconscious is wide open when we're going to sleep. We're going to start little by little thoughts, repetition, the same thoughts, but they're in the present tense, the I am. And I want to read you something about that from the book, At Your Command, from Neville. He talks about, this is why in the Bible, Jesus asked, he said, the question, whom do you say that I am, is not addressed to a person called Peter by one called Jesus. This is the eternal question addressed to one's self by one's true being. In other words, Whom do you say that you are? For your conviction of yourself, your opinion of yourself will determine your expression in life. So it's I am. One of the affirmations I used, and I still use to this day, is I am, is from Bob Proctor. I am so happy and grateful. Gratitude is tremendous in this, in changing the subconscious. I'm so happy and grateful now, present tense, that money comes to me. So money returns to the place. Okay, returns. Money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources. Because again, going back to the system, the 1%, the richest people in the world have all figured out ways to have multiple streams of income. The middle class and lower middle class and the poor may not have any income streams, but the middle class generally has one or maybe two streams of income. The rich have figured out ways to have multiple streams of income. So I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities from multiple sources on a consistent basis. So you can create up your own affirmations, but it's in the I am, the present tense. That is the most important part. And repetition. So the way we do it is first, just like we were taught, if you will, here, hypnotic. So we do this when we are going to sleep, we're falling asleep, and we first wake up in the morning. Because again, in the morning, we're going from delta, all night sleeping, right, to theta. We're starting to wake up. We're in a hypnotic state. The conscious mind's not completely awake yet. Alpha, we're kind of struggling, kind of bouncing around. And then beta. So again, it is the hypnotic state, that part of our day. I like to call them the two bookends. When we wake up in the morning, we're groggy. We're training our brains to think, to just repeat these affirmations. And when we're going to sleep, we're repeating it. You'll find as you do this, when you wake up in the morning, your brain just automatically, like as has happened to me almost every single morning, it just automatically starts thinking that way. I'm not actively thinking that; it just comes out because I've had it sort of almost like a slow cooker, if you will, in the hind part of my brain. It's been sort of marinating there because as you do this, these thoughts are going to marinate in your subconscious for the next 7, 8 hours of your life here on earth. So that's how we do it. We change it. We change how we think and talk about and to ourselves. And what's going to happen is things are just going to start to reflect back to you without you even thinking about it. Now, the other key to this, it's very important, is that once we do this, we cut the cord. We let it go. We trust that the universe will bring it to us. This is why in the affirmation, I am so happy and grateful. So you may want to say, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm driving this car. And when you're in your car, you're driving that car. You're going to train your brain. Okay. I'm living in either a house or the house I'm in is whatever, renovated, whatever. I see the money. I'm so happy that the money is in my bank account. I only see that amount there. We want to go back to the point where we are in that imaginative state where we are living that reality. Because again, the reality in your life right now is only the reality that you've thought of, that you've talked yourself into repetition all the years leading up to this moment right now. If you would like any type of personal one-on-one coaching with anything that I just mentioned or in my previous videos, go to my channel, click on the link that says Coach Geo, and I'd be happy to work with you one-on-one. Have a great evening.